Look, it's going to be a good night for us. We're going to have a lot of momentum, but it's a hard night. It's her state. You know, she was the senator there. Nobody here is going to sugarcoat it for you, but there's a lot of good states coming up for us, and we think every vote's going to be counted tonight. We think we're going to be right in it. At the end of the day, there's not going to be much difference on the delegate count when we come out of New York.
All right, so the fact that it could be close, she still wins, but it's closer than the 10 points it was. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, she was up by 20 points. That lead would have shrunk considerably in that event, and I'm wondering what that says about enthusiasm for going forward in these other crucial states where your candidate has to not only win, but as you keep hearing, win big.
Yeah, you know, we've been doing these campaigns for a long time, and the momentum is definitely on our side, and time just is starting to run out, so we're having to build up the momentum quicker and quicker and quicker, but we have big states up. People should remember this is a show about numbers. There are 1,400 delegates still up after tonight on the Democratic side, and there's less than 200 delegates between them if you don't count those super-duper delegates right there in the game.
Yeah, we're trying to get a count exactly how many delegates Trump has won. But, of course, a lot of people was talking about close to 80. It doesn't look like that's the number. What are you expecting next in terms of the following couple of weeks and the important contests?
I think that you're going to see things start to really get more divisive on the Republican side. And on the Democratic side, we're going to shift to states like Pennsylvania and Maryland and Delaware, where the trade issue is going to play out very heavily in Bernie's favor. And I think you're going to see momentum continue on Bernie's side. And on the Republican side, tonight, I think Donald Trump's going to do 60, 70, maybe that 80% number. And the chickens are going to come home to roost on that side.
Hey, Chuck, what are Bernie supporters going to sort of ask for, perhaps even demand at the convention if Hillary is the nominee? I mean, they've such a strong support all over the country for Bernie. What do you want for that at the convention?
Well, look, I'm not going to give her the nomination tonight, but what I will say is that Bernie's come out of nowhere and he's restruck the way we've done campaigns. We know money's a dirty part of this campaign, and he's literally redone the way that we finance campaigns with individual Americans who says, I want my voice to be heard, actually given $27 several times to say, it's time for us to be heard. Earlier you were talking about wage stagnation and people being sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's the Bernie Sanders supporters as well. He struck that chord, and these people demand to be heard.
Chuck, he's striking a chord, but does this actually add up? You got to look at the actual math here, because anybody you look at, free college, free health care, anybody who looks at Bernie Sanders' plans will say it's going to make the debt skyrocket, and it's just nonsensical. It doesn't make sense in terms of how do you pay for it. So how are you advising him on that?
You should know from the way I talk, I'm not giving him economic advice, but I am teaching him how to win an election. I'm teaching him good how to win an election.
Yeah,
but what I do know is over 6 million individual contributions.
Hey.
Listen to me. 6 million individual contributions to somebody, that's not just pie in the sky. I ain't making that up.
Chuck, that's great.
But policy might be fine.
Chuck, I got to ask you to go easy on that accent, if you would. I was born in Childress, Texas, and you know, I consider that something you ought to be bragging about. Not poor mouthing on now.
Absolutely, Lou. Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting night tonight. I mean, as we watch people, and you've hit a chord about the young people. I've been doing campaigns for 24 years, back to my East Texas roots in Ann Richards in 1994. I've never seen people actually be involved at this level and be like over-exuberant. I was part of the Obama race, but it's nothing compared to that. And I hope that it gets us to where we have to be at the finish line.
Okay, so he's got the charisma, Chuck, to get these big crowds out, 27,000, 28,000 here in New York that we've seen. But back to the policy issue. In other words, people are concerned about this economy. We're seeing that this is the #1 issue on both sides of the aisle. You mean to tell me that a socialist, that's what you want to see as the nominee on the Democratic side? And how would you ever get America to abandon everything that we have ever built in the way of capitalism to suddenly move over to a socialist system and try and emulate Denmark?
He's an avowed socialist Democrat, and if you like your free highways and you like Social Security, then you may be a socialist. And I'll tell you this, people are tired of watching their jobs go overseas. And if they're tired of watching their jobs go overseas and they want to reinvest in America, Bernie Sanders is your guy. Get out and vote. The problem with New York tonight is they're a close primary.
All right. You're the best, young man. Chuck, thank you very much. Chuck